Okay, here we are in Land of Dragons on the second visit, heading up to fight, oh, a man of mystery. Who could he be? I don't know. Leave a comment on the video guessing at who this is. So, I think there's a time limit on this. I think if I had to guess, it would be something like 5 minutes. It is not short, because I tried to time it out initially, and it just was taking way too long. So, I went for the damage instead, because there's also a damage gate to end the fight. And so let's talk about what we're doing here. He's only got a few attacks, and so that's when you want to look out for, because it's easy to reflect. And the dash always gets followed up by that energy blast, so you need to dodge away from that. And in between his attacks, he can't get staggered, which is one of the dumbest things in this entire game. Like, this is so frustrating. Why can't you stagger him? I just don't like it. I don't think it adds anything to the fight, but so you have to play around that. You can just sneak in a quick combo there. So I guess he might as well get staggered. It doesn't really make a difference because you're still doing a combo. So you want to look for those speed traps, but you also don't want to be vulnerable at the end of the speed trap. So you just sort of want the speed trap to line up with his attacks. So he's doing nothing when the speed trap is over. And I went ahead and threw out the Trinity Limit because, you know, you can, and it does a little bit of damage, but not enough to spam it through the fight. Then I went into Limit form because I know he's almost dead and I just want it to end. There we go. And then we've got a mob fight. You wouldn't believe it, but Trinity Limit can sweep this whole fight. We start with the drive orbs, because I've talked about that a few times now. When the orbs push them in and out of the magnet, they take more damage. They like the magnet's damage is applied every time they bounce in and out. So you always want to start with the triangle when you use Magnet Trinity. And then we got enough hits from doing all that shit to kill them all on the finishing move. Awesome. We've got a second mob fight with these snipers. As we learned in Cavern of Remembrance, Stitch just completely destroys these guys. They are worthless against our little blue best friend. They can't shoot me with anything. There's just nothing to do. Like, even the laser that sits out in the air where you use Warp Snipe, it can't hit you. It can try, but Stitch just saved my life. It can't hit you. So snipers are completely worthless. Like, the funniest thing about it is just to consider the fact that Stitch is the ultimate opponent of Zigbarn. You know, this creepy, evil, conniving guy just is absolutely powerless against Stitch. I love thinking about that. It's really funny. And of course, speaking of funny, we are still using Monochrome because it's the greatest. I can't see myself giving up Monochrome anytime soon. And oh, here's another fun Master Form sticker. This one's a little trickier. And it's super easy to get with Glide. I just like finding different ways to do it, so that's kind of fun. Okay, so a few comments before we start this boss. While I was doing the commentary for my original recording of this, I got an idea for how to do it way better. And so the save file where I originally did it is long gone. And the only other file I had available is a slightly different timeline. So what you're about to see is a slightly different timeline from the 2 clips before it. But it's just earlier in the game. So it's not like I have some new advantage. In fact, I have a disadvantage because my Reflect is only level 1 when it should be level 2. So yeah, that actually, you know, hurts me a little bit. So it's just a slightly different timeline. It's a little bit harder, but the strategy is all exactly the same. So here's that. All right, let's get into this. My new strategy that I came up with while I was doing commentary on original. This is like a minute and a half faster, so I think you'll all appreciate that. You don't have to sit here and watch me do this shit. So my original strategy is to reflect these lightnings. So when he starts doing his little clappy clappies, making that noise, he's arching his back. That tells you the big lightning's going to come, so you need to reflect that twice. That's something to look out for. And then you hold on twice this time. I actually like these spines, this like twirling, because it teaches you the mechanics like right away. I'll get to that in a minute. So we're going to use Genie. This was the idea I had, half of it anyway. And so his limit in Valor form Genie does a good amount of damage to these horns. And what I was originally doing here was just reflecting the lightning bolts, just like using good timing, just like that, just like what happened there. And then waiting, for, you know, trying to get those arched back lightnings. And so just sort of combine, just a bunch of lightning. But this new strategy is combining Valor Form Genie's limit, which is, you know, free damage, you can't get hit while you're doing it, and, you know, weaving in some reflects. So it's faster introducing Genie, but what's really faster is what we'll see in a few minutes. So what I was trying to say was that those 2 reaction command twirls, it teaches you all the mechanics right at the beginning, right? It says, you know, this is something you can do. Oh wait, it can happen a little bit differently, and then it starts being random, right? But the first 2 are guaranteed to teach you the mechanics. And so we managed to do enough damage here in the first phase to make him go into the reaction command first. Yeah, it's a nice pose, Sora. Very, very, I don't know, elegant. Anyway, so we're beating up his horns now. If you don't do enough damage, he'll drop bombs there instead, which is a waste of time, so you don't want to do that. But we did enough damage, and you get out after those 2 combos because he'll do an AoE. I have to use a potion on Donald because he sucks and dies all the time. So, originally, I was just, like, doing this the normal way. This combo is free all the time. He can't hit you right here. And as I was doing commentary, I was like, I guess I could do a limit here. And I was like, oh shit, I can just do a limit here. So yeah, I originally started trying to use Flare Force, but it was being really weird and not working properly. So I switched over to Comet, and now you just get all this free damage when I normally wouldn't be able to do anything. So I did switch to Hero's Crest instead of Monochrome because I wanted to, you know, really beat the crap out of him while I was using Comet there. So that was it. Those were the 2 big ideas, was Genie's Limit to beat up his horns, and using Comet during the laser beam to just do a shit ton of damage.
Let's go.
And then I brought out Genie again to beat him up some more. That's pretty much it. It's the only problem with this. And honestly, I think I like just my reflect strategy more than using Genie. It's because you miss the hold-on reaction command, right? It's hard to get that command when you're using Genie's Limit. And so I think I might just prefer to use reflect and not Genie. And probably Stitch instead of Genie, so you don't have to use Ethers. I think I had to use an Ether in this fight. But yeah, using Comet during the laser beam, that is super clutch. That made redoing this fight totally worth it, because that changed everything. That made this so much faster and so much easier. And then, you know, I can do whatever I want here to get me off. Alright, there we go. I think I said everything I wanted to say. Yeah, so... There's a Storm Dragon? Storm Rider? That's it. It's Storm Rider. Don't look it up. Trust me, it's Storm Rider. You trust me, right? But yeah, see, Olympus didn't open up because I haven't beaten Beast Castle in this timeline. But, yeah. From level 1, it's true. It's true! And so, after this is going to be Nightmare Before Christmas. Of course, back in, you know, that original timeline that I've been doing all these videos in. Okay, thanks for watching.